Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what happens if your loved one has been Baker acted, but they actually really do need help. Perhaps it's for a substance use disorder, perhaps it's for mental illness, perhaps it's for both. What are your options? Well, first of all, if someone has been Baker acted and it was because of a substance use disorder, then based on what the statute says and how it defines mental illness, they don't even meet criteria anyway, and they shouldn't be there in the first place. But as you know, from seeing the videos and all the rest of the content we put out, it doesn't take a whole lot to get you Baker acted, right? A finger and someone appointed. And if you have health insurance, that makes you a target for some of these more unscrupulous hospitals and Baker Act receivancies. They'll happily keep you even if you don't meet criteria. If there's health insurance there and they can make money, they'll be glad to keep you. But when it comes to getting your loved one help, there's really three options. Number one, your loved one can make that decision to save themselves, i.e. they can enter treatment voluntarily. And I mean, it does happen, but we don't see it a lot. In fact, by the time clients come to us, it's because their loved one has either refused to go into treatment or they have been in and out, in and out, in and out more times than they can count, and they've never stayed long enough in a clinically appropriate facility so they can finally experience the miracle of recovery. Or, second option is, you can make the decision for them. You as the person who cares about them most, can make the decision to save them. Even if they're in a Baker Act facility, and provided a court has not entered an order for placement, in other words, extended their detention, potentially beyond the initial 72-hour hold if it's involuntary. And don't forget, there's two types of Baker Act here in Florida. You can still file for something like the Marchman Act or the guardianship or both. In other words, we want to move the state out of the way before the state becomes more of a permanent factor in this situation. The third option is you could just let the state do it for you, which is, the Baker Act process. And in my experience, people generally don't get better when they've been Baker Acted. In fact, the whole purpose of the Baker Act is for assessment, stabilization, and release. And the other is to get you out of there. And one of the things I think families find frustrating is their loved one gets Baker Acted, and then they're like, well, we want them to stay longer. Well, guess what? First of all, the Baker Act is not a treatment statute. It's not designed to treat anything. Okay, assessment, stabilization, released. And the other thing is that if there's a substance use disorder, it's not designed for that either. And the other thing is that the Baker Act is a statute that allows the state to take custody of somebody. So if they have been Baker Acted, your rights to make decisions for them have been terminated. Their rights to make decisions for themselves have been terminated. It's all going to be up to the clinicians and professionals who are agents of the state's mental health system in the Baker Act, and that receiving facility is also an agent of the state's mental health system. All the decisions about your loved one's health care are going to be made by those people, whether to let them go, whether to keep them, all of that. So why would you allow the state to make the decisions for your loved one? Based on my experience, they don't have your loved one's best interests at heart, and they're poorly situated to make decisions that are going to help them. And frankly, when it comes to your loved one, if they can make the decision to save themselves, they would have already done it. Their brain has been kidnapped, and it was kidnapped a long time ago, and expecting them to save themselves is just not a viable option. It just does not happen. And so it's really, at the end of the day, going to be up to you and your family to make the decision to save your loved one. That's the reality of the situation. That's why families come to us, because they are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're tired of the suffering. They're tired of the family suffering. They're tired of their loved one suffering, and it needs to end. But it only happens when somebody in the family makes the decision to save this person. And until that happens, unfortunately, the insanity of the situation just continues, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. Because like any disease, if it's untreated, ultimately it will destroy the host, and it'll destroy your family with it. So I wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you tuning in. I would love a thumbs up. I would love you to subscribe to the channel. And if you have comments or questions, please I'm here to help you. I put out this content so you can get the information you need without having to call a lawyer and get what you really need, which is the truth about what's really going on here. So thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.